One backyard pool host in Los Angeles reportedly clears $5,000 to $6,000 a month on Swimply, and he never stands behind a counter, never hires an employee, and never opens a storefront. Somewhere on your street this week, you will walk past a small machine that a regular person owns, restocks on a Saturday, and quietly empties the coins out of. We stacked two of our deepest deep dives into one. Inside, you get 6 coin-operated machines you walk past every single week that someone quietly owns and restocks, plus 6 rental ideas that pay every single month, starting with the backyard pool on rung 1 of what we call the idle asset ladder. Stick to the end. The highest rung on that ladder is the asset almost nobody thinks to rent out, and there is a good chance it is sitting at your house right now doing nothing. It's 2 in the morning at a dark boat ramp. Every bait shop for miles is closed, but one little box by the water is wide awake, quietly pulling a few $100s a month in live worm sales. All night with nobody standing there. Somebody owns that box, not a corporation. One regular person who drives out Saturday, refills it, and collects the coins. Put a dozen tiny machines like it on one loop, and quiet owners clear $1,500 to nearly $5,000 a month. Here's the honest part. No single one of these machines makes you rich. That's exactly why nobody chases them. The real game is a coin-operated machine business built the boring way. Tiny machines, one short loop, quietly adding up. Meet Harry. He works the concession window at that ramp and finally asked who owned the bait box. First, the machine you could start this weekend. Number 1. The art vending machine. You have walked past one and had no idea what it was. An old cigarette machine, restored and repainted, bolted to the wall of a coffee shop. Pull a knob, and out drops a tiny original artwork in a little box for 10 or 20 bucks. Here's the dream first. A single art machine in a busy cafe quietly pays its owner $50 to $300 a month. Picture one box in the corner of a packed coffee shop, taking a few pulls a day while you sleep. That's the whole thing. And this one is real, with a name. Back in 1997, an artist named Clark Whittington built the very first Artomat from a dead cigarette machine. Today, those machines live in cafes and galleries all over the country. It's spread because it is so simple to run. So how do you actually start? You buy one used restored machine for $1,500 to $4,000. That price sounds like the barrier. It isn't. It's the moat. Almost nobody wants to hunt down and restore an old machine, so the few who do own the wall space, and the wall space is the whole business. Now here's the part that makes it beautiful. You don't buy the art. Local artists hand you the little pieces on consignment and keep most of the sale, usually half to 70%. You just supply the machine and the wall. The venue takes a small cut. You keep the difference. Getting that first location is easier than you think. You walk into the coffee shops, breweries, and bookstores where the crowd is a little artsy and lingers. Every town has dozens of spots like that, and almost none have an art machine yet. You only need one owner to say yes. The pitch is dead simple. You tell them it's a free conversation piece, it draws customers, and you'll hand them a small cut of every sale. No cost, no work, no risk to them. Framed that way, a lot of owners say yes on the spot. Restocking is light every 3 or 4 weeks, because art sells slower than candy. Here's the timeline. Month 1, you place the machine and it trickles. By month 6, in a good cafe, it settles into that steady $50 to $300 a month. And here's the pro tip most beginners skip. Put your machine where people sit and wait, not where they rush through. A slow browse beats a fast hallway every time. That's Harry's month 2 move. He placed his first art box in the cafe next to the boat ramp, the one every fisherman grabs coffee at. Slow at first, then steady, month after month. Number 2. The coin-operated shoe shine machine. This one is pure nostalgia, and that is the point. A little floor unit, drop in 2 quarters, and it buffs your shoes while you stand there. You've passed one in an old hotel lobby and never once thought about it. The dream here is small and honest. A well-placed shine machine quietly pulls $50 to a few $100s a month, and it never takes a day off. No product to sell, no worms to feed, just a machine that buffs and collects. The whole trick is the venue. This one lives where men in nice shoes stand around waiting. Upscale hotel lobbies, old-school barbershops, a men's clothing store. You place it, split a little with the host, and every few weeks you swap the polish and empty the coin box. That's the entire job. Is it a fortune? No. It's a quiet $100 from a corner of a lobby nobody else was using. Hold that number in your head, because we are about to stack it. Number 3. The kids' sticker and tattoo machine. Now we hit the margins that made me sit up straight. This is a little 2-column machine, usually right by the door of a diner or a bowling alley. A kid drops in 50 cents to $1.25, and out comes a sticker or a temporary tattoo. Parents pay it every single time because it's $1 to stop a meltdown. Here's the dream number first. A basic single machine runs $20 to $200 a month. But a beefed-up dual slot unit with a capsule toy add-on quietly does $300 to $500 a month in the right doorway. All from one little box. And the margins are almost silly. A sticker costs you 3 to 15 cents. It sells for 50 cents to over $1. That is a 90 to 97% gross margin. 3 cents in, $1 out. You won't find many businesses that clean. So how do you start? You buy the machine for mid-range bulk vendor money, then load it with stickers from a real wholesaler for pennies apiece. Then you place it where kids get bored waiting for food. Diners, bowling alleys, arcades, pizza shops, family restaurants. Easily dozens of those sit within a short drive of you. The host takes 15 to 25% or a small flat rent, and you restock about once a month. Here's the honest catch and the fix in the same breath. Operators on sites like Vending Locator will warn you that these move fewer units than a snack machine, so one alone is small money. The fix is the whole point of this video. You don't run one, you run several, on a loop. And here's the pro tip. Get the dual slot machine, not the single. The capsule toys pull the older kids while the stickers pull the little ones. And you double your take from the same square foot of floor. Harry's very first machine was one of these, at the diner where he already ate breakfast. It cost him under $500 to get going. Month 1, it made him about $90. Not life-changing, but it proved the loop was real. And it paid for the next machine. Number 4, the fortune teller and novelty scale. This is the wild card, the one that makes people grin. A vintage-style machine that tells your weight or spits out a little fortune card. You've seen them on boardwalks and in old diners. I'll be straight with you because this channel does not invent numbers. Real operator data on these is thin. They're a novelty, so they likely earn a touch less than the sticker machine, in that same modest coin box range. But they do something the others can't. They pull people in. A fortune scale by the door of a diner is a conversation piece, and conversation pieces get fed quarters all day. Starting one is the same simple playbook. A restored unit runs into the low thousands. You place it somewhere with foot traffic and a little retro charm, split a small cut with the host, and empty the coin box on your loop. Low labor, no product, pure novelty. Think of it as the machine that earns a little and makes your whole route more fun to run. Now, before the big two, let me tell you about the Saturday that almost knocked Harry out of the game. Around month 7, one of his hosts sold their diner. New owners came in, redecorated, and pulled his sticker machine off the wall overnight. Just gone. That machine was a real chunk of his income, and for one weekend he figured the whole thing was too fragile to trust. Then he did what every good route operator learns to do. He had already scouted a backup spot, a bowling alley 2 miles away just in case. He redeployed the machine that same week and barely missed a beat. And he made himself one rule, the rule seasoned operators on sites like Nav swear by. Never let a single host be more than about a quarter of your income. Spread across enough spots, losing one is a bump, not a collapse. That's the moment the whole thing clicked. And it's the pattern I most want you to see. Here's the secret nobody puts on a thumbnail. The money was never in any one machine. It's in the cluster. I call it the coin cluster route. You don't chase one perfect machine. You place a handful of small ones close together, on a drive loop tight enough to service in a single Saturday. Each machine is tiny, The route is not. One machine is a hobby. A dozen machines is an income. Same work, same Saturday. Completely different result. There's a book that names this feeling exactly. It's called Company of One by Paul Jarvis. His whole idea flips what you were taught. The goal isn't to get bigger, hire a team, and open a storefront. The goal is to stay small on purpose. One person, almost no overhead, keeping nearly every dollar that comes in. A coin route is a company of one in its purest form. No staff, no lease, no boss. Just you, one Saturday loop, and a bag of quarters that grows a little every month. That is what turns 6 small machines into passive income machines you actually own. Which brings us to the 2 machines that make the whole route hum. Number 5. The tourist binocular, the tower viewer. This is the most documented machine on the entire list. Once you know the story, you'll never walk past one the same way. Think about those coin-operated binoculars at the scenic overlook. A company called Tower Optical has been making them since 1933. Thousands are still bolted to railings across the country. Here's the dream. Each viewer holds up to 2,000 quarters at a time. It charges about 50 cents for a couple of minutes of viewing. And the good ones quietly earn their owner $100 to over $800 a month based on real site data out of a town called Sausalito. And the labor? Almost none. There's no product to restock. You just drive out and empty the quarters. But I promised you honesty, so here's the catch with its fix. This machine lives and dies on the view and the crowd. One famous spot, Howe Caverns, had a viewer earning around $1,000 a year at its peak. Then watched it fade to almost nothing as foot traffic dried up. The lesson is simple. Placement is everything. Put it where tourists actually stop, and the quarters pile up on their own. How do you get one? You source a viewer from a maker like Tower Optical or Velarde, then strike a deal with whoever owns the overlook. Usually it's a split. The site takes a cut, you take the rest, and your only real job is driving out to collect coins. It is the laziest machine on this list. Look for county parks, marinas, observation decks, and roadside pull-offs. Most of them have an old railing just waiting for a viewer. Here's the pro tip. Chase the busy ticketed attractions first, the ones with a parking lot that fills up. A proven crowd beats a pretty view with no cars, every single time. Harry's Tower Viewer went in around month 5, up at the lake overlook where the tour boats dock. It became his quietest earner of all. Coins stacking up with no product to restock, ever. He'd empty it on the same Saturday loop as everything else and just keep driving. Which brings us, finally, to the machine that started this whole video. Number 6. The live bait vending machine. This is the best in category reveal, and it's my favorite because almost nobody sees it coming. A refrigerated, aerated box at a boat ramp or a lakeside gas station, selling live worms, minnows, and crickets around the clock. When every bait shop for miles is dark and locked. This box is wide open. Here's the dream. It serves a captive, repeat customer at a spot where there is zero competition at 4 in the morning. An angler who forgot bait or ran out at dawn has nowhere else to turn. Real operators run these in the modest hundreds of dollars a month per machine. But that customer is desperate, loyal, and always comes back. That is rare, and it is powerful. And here's proof it's a real, sanctioned business, not some gray area hustle. Down in St. Mary Parish, Louisiana, the local government wrote an exception into its own rules just to allow live bait vending machine service at public boat ramps. When a place changes its ordinance to let your machine exist, you know the demand is real. So how do you start? You buy the unit, which costs a bit more than the others because it needs refrigeration and aeration for the livestock. Then you find a boat ramp, a marina, or a bait-adjacent gas station, and you sign a simple placement deal. Here's the honest catch with its fix. Because the bait is alive, you restock more often than any machine on this list, every couple of days. That's the trade. More work per machine, but a customer who has no other option at sunrise. And just check your city's rules first, because a boat ramp sometimes needs a quick permit. 15 minutes of Googling tells you which path fits your lake. Here's the pro tip that seals it. Partner with a local bait wholesaler for your restock so you're not raising worms in your garage. Let them keep the stuff alive, you keep the coins. And what does a bait box's month actually look like? Steady and unglamorous. A few sales a night, every night, because fish don't check business hours. In peak season, at a busy ramp, that quiet trickle can be your best single earner of the summer. Harry's live bait box was his graduation machine at month 10, right at the ramp where he already worked. He watched it sell to sunrise fishermen he recognized by name. That was the day it stopped feeling like an experiment and started feeling like a real business. So let's do the math out loud, because this is where it all comes together. One machine, small. But one machine was never the plan. Say you build up to 10 or 12 machines over a year, a mix of these 6, all inside a 20 to 30-minute loop. Blend them out at a couple $100 each per month. 12 machines at $200 each is $2,400 a month before anyone's cut. Take out the host commissions and your restock costs. A realistic first year on a growing route lands somewhere between $8,000 and $25,000, weighted to the back half as you add machines and swap out the weak ones. Picture the actual Saturday. You pull into the cafe and empty the art box. 2 miles later, the diner and the sticker machine, then the overlook viewer, the bait ramp, the barbershop shine unit. 6 coin boxes, 1 tank of gas, home by lunch. That is the entire job. No employees, no storefront, no standing behind a counter, just a quiet loop and a bag of quarters. And watch the shape of Harry's year, because this is the part nobody warns you about. Month 3, 1 machine, about $90. Month 6, 3 machines, maybe $400 a month. The line barely moves early, and then it climbs. Month 12, 6 machines placed and heading for a dozen, netting him a little over $2,400 a month on top of the day job. That's the trap that makes people quit. It feels flat at the start when it's really just loading up. Slow, slow, slow. Then real. Not from one lucky machine. From a boring little cluster serviced on one Saturday loop. Here are the 3 filters that decide which machine you place first. 1. Does the spot have real foot traffic or a captive crowd that can't leave like a boat ramp? 2. Can you sign a host deal there this month on a handshake and a small cut? 3. Can you service it on a single weekend loop with everything else? Pass all 3 and the machine goes on your route, fail 1 and you skip it. So here's your one job, and it costs you nothing. On your next errand, just count. Count the little coin and card machines you walk past. The art box, the shoe shine, the sticker machine, the fortune scale, the binoculars, the bait box. Notice which ones sit empty, broken, or unbranded. Every single one is a host location an operator could win. And even if your count comes back low. Good. You just learned something most people who dream about passive income never bother to check. Now I want to hear from you. Of these 6 machines, which one would you place first? Drop the number, 1 through 6, in the comments. Whichever machine gets the most votes, I break down the full route on that one next. So tell me, 1 through 6, which little machine are you claiming? One woman in Los Angeles rents out her backyard pool by the hour and clears $5,000 to $6,000 a month from that one pool. Her name is Raja Trebi. Business Insider ran the numbers. Across 5 homes, she pulls $22,000 a month. She built nothing. She hired no one. She rented out water she already owned. And you are probably sitting on an asset exactly like it right now. Here is the quiet truth. Starting a business does not mean inventing a product. It does not mean stuffing a garage with stock you pray somebody buys. It means renting out access to something you already own. That single idea, turning an idle thing into a rental business, is exactly what Lee Gallagher writes about in her book The Airbnb Story. Meet Harry. Harry drives a city transit bus, and his split shift leaves his middays wide open. He has a modest house, an above-ground pool, a fenced side yard, and a garage full of forgotten stuff. This is for educational purposes, not financial advice. Just 6 simple rental business ideas a regular person can run from home for a monthly check. By the end, you will know which one to list first. And here is the ladder we are climbing. It starts with a one-time rental you can list this weekend, and it ends with a customer who pays you every month forever on a contract. 6 rungs. Let us climb. So let us start with the easiest one, the one Harry already had in his own backyard. the backyard pool. Raja, the woman from the top, is a real estate agent in Los Angeles. She lists her pool on a platform called Swimply and charges around $75 an hour. Swimply takes a cut, roughly 15 to 20%, and the rest is hers. From her own home pool, Business Insider reported $5,000 to $6,000 a month in peak season. Now, before you say that is only a California thing, let us talk about the pond. There are millions of families in this country who want a private pool, for a birthday, for a photo shoot, for a quiet swim without a crowd. You are not trying to serve all of them. You need a handful of Saturday bookings a month. That is it. Here is the beautiful part. If you already own a pool, your startup cost is basically zero. Swimply does not want you to build anything. They want you to list what is already sitting in your backyard. So you take clean, bright photos on a sunny afternoon. You write 3 or 4 simple house rules. You set your price a little below the other local listings, just to win your first reviews fast. Most hosts get their first booking within days of going live, because the platform approves listings quickly. How do you actually get those first guests? The platform does the heavy lifting. People are already searching it for a pool near them. But smart hosts also drop one post in a local parents group or a neighborhood app. 1 listing, 2 channels. Now, do the math out loud with me. At $50 an hour, 4 hours on a Saturday twice a month. That is about $400, and you barely lifted a finger. Push into the warm months with more bookings, and Sunbelt hosts report $1,000 to $2,000 a month. Harry lives near Sacramento, so his season runs long and hot. His first month, listing that above-ground pool, he booked 2 afternoons and made a little over $200. By deep summer, he was clearing closer to $1,000. And it snowballed for a simple reason. Each happy guest left a review. And reviews are what push you to the top of the local search. So your first 3 bookings are the most important ones you will ever take. Price them cheap, treat those guests like gold, and let the reviews do the selling after that. So what is the one thing most people get wrong? They obsess over the perfect pool. You do not need a mansion pool. You need a clean pool, honest photos, and a fast reply to messages. Boring beats fancy. Every single time. Number 2 is sitting right next to that pool, the fenced side yard. If you have a yard with a fence, there is a platform called Sniff Spot, where dog owners pay to rent it by the hour. Their dog gets to run off leash in a private, safe space. Sniff Spot says hosts can earn up to $3,000 a month, and their team has seen top spots go even higher. One host featured by Business Insider went from $20 his first month to $3,000 a month. He works under 2 hours a week, mostly because he added a monthly membership for his repeat customers. What is the pond here? There are thousands of dog owners within a few miles of you. Anxious dogs, reactive dogs, dogs that just need to sprint. You do not need all of them. You need a few dozen regulars. Starting costs almost nothing because you already have the fence. Maybe you add a water bowl and clear out any junk. You take photos, you list the yard, and you set an hourly price around $10. First bookings often come inside the first month. Then the arc goes like this. A trickle at first. Then word spreads through the local dog crowd. Picture the timeline. Month 1. A few curious bookings and maybe $20 or $30. Month 3. Steady weekend traffic. Then you add a membership tier that reserves the morning slots for your regulars, and suddenly it is recurring income. That is the move that took the Business Insider host to $3,000 a month. So what is the one thing to get right? Safety and privacy. Good fences and 1 dog group at a time. That is what makes owners rebook. Now notice what just happened here. We climbed 1 rung. From a one-time hourly booking to a repeating monthly check. Hold that thought. It matters. Number 3 does not need a yard at all. Textbook rental. Stay with me here, because the economics are quietly incredible. A company called Chegg started doing exactly this. Forbes documented it. In a single semester, they turned about $400,000 of used books into $650,000 of rental revenue. And then did it again the next semester with the same books. That is the magic of renting instead of selling. The same asset pays you over and over and over. Now, you are not Chegg. But the exact same loop works small. Here is the pond. One state university enrolls tens of thousands of students, and every single one needs expensive books twice a year. You are not chasing all of them. You need 10 to 20 in-demand titles. How do you start? You buy used copies of the priciest required books cheaply, often around 60% of retail or less. Then you list them. Platforms like Campus Book Rentals handle the shipping for a small flat fee per rental. Or you post free on campus boards and student groups and keep every dollar. Forbes described how one program rents a $172 physics book for about $54 the first time. Then again. It nets the book owner over $100 per book across 2 years from a book they bought once. So how do you get customers? Timing is everything. You have your inventory ready right before enrollment weeks in August and January, when students are frantically searching. Post exactly where they look: campus groups, local student apps, a flyer on the right bulletin board. The realistic timeline is seasonal by nature. You load up before the semester. You rent hard for a few weeks. Then it goes quiet until the next term rolls around. A stock of 10 to 20 good titles can bring in several hundred to a couple $1,000s per semester cycle. So here is the one thing beginners get wrong. They buy random books. Please do not do that. Only buy the required, expensive, hard-to-find ones. The boring, unglamorous titles nobody wants to own. Those are the ones that rent out every single term. That is the whole secret. Number 4 is a favorite of mine because almost nobody thinks of it: mannequins and store fixtures. Every boutique, every pop-up shop, every trade show booth, every photographer needs mannequins, clothing racks, and display stands. And here's the thing: most of them do not want to buy them. They want to rent them for one event or one season. Individual mannequins and fixtures rent for roughly $40 to $175 per piece per rental. So picture this: you rent a small set of 10 to a boutique for a seasonal window display. That is real money for gear that just sits in your garage the rest of the year. Here is the pond. Your city has dozens of small clothing shops, event planners, and photographers. You do not need a warehouse full of stock. You need a handful of them renting your rack. So how do you start? You buy used fixtures, which go for well under retail. You photograph them clean. Then you reach out directly to local boutiques and event stylists. Or you list in prop and rental groups online. One simple opener works. Walk into a shop and ask who they use for display rentals. Most will say nobody, and that is your door. Now the income timeline. This one is event-driven, not steady. Demand spikes hard around fashion seasons and holiday retail builds. So a single busy booking might bring $400 to $1,000, and then things quiet down between events. String a few boutiques together across the year, and it adds up nicely. Keep a refundable deposit on every piece and snap a photo before it leaves your garage. Here is the pro tip: the people who keep their fixtures clean and organized are the ones stylists call back. Season after season after season. Now, quick confession, because I promised you the real version of this, not the shiny one. Harry hit a wall early. One of his first pool guests threw a party, left the deck a mess, and cracked a pump filter. Harry had taken no deposit, no photos, no clear return time. He ate that repair, and he felt sick about it. So he fixed it in one move. From then on, every rental followed one rule: the pool, the yard, a fixture, all of it. No deposit, no photos, no return time, no handoff. He took a before picture. He held a refundable deposit. He wrote down when the asset had to come back. And just like that, damage disputes stopped being scary. They became boring paperwork. And boring is exactly what you want. That one rule points straight at the pattern behind all 6 of these. I call it the idle asset ladder. Every business here is the same simple move. You take something you already own or buy once for cheap, and you rent out access to it instead of selling it. And the ladder climbs. At the very bottom are the one-time rentals: the pool by the hour, the yard by the hour. A rung up, you add memberships and repeat renters. And at the very top sits a customer who pays you every single month on a contract without you ever making a new sale. In her book, The Airbnb Story, Lee Gallagher describes how an entire company grew from one idea. that the most valuable thing you own might be the space you are not even using. That idea runs through all 6 of these, which brings us to number 5, and the recurring machine waiting at number 6. Number 5. Baby gear rental. This one surprised me with how big it gets. Sarah Huff started with a single item, after she found a platform called BabyQuip. Business Insider reported she now makes $5,000 a month. She rents out 65-plus items to families in Los Angeles. Providers keep about 78% of each rental fee. So think about who needs this. A family flies somewhere for a vacation or to visit grandma. They do not want to drag a crib, a car seat, a stroller, and a high chair through an airport. So they rent it all instead, delivered right to where they are staying. Simple. Here is the pond. Thousands of families travel through your area every single month, and a real chunk of them are traveling with a baby. You are not serving all of them. To hit the bigger numbers, you need somewhere around 35 to 40 bookings a month across a full set of gear. And you start small and cheap. 1 car seat, 1 pack and play, maybe under $200 for a starter set. You list it on BabyQuip, which connects you to those traveling families and handles the booking for you. One documented provider on Reddit reached $1,240 in a single month within about a year. She broke even on her initial gear in roughly 3 months. How do you get customers? The platform sends most of them because parents search it specifically for their trip. Then you stack up reviews by nailing the first few deliveries. Clean gear. On time. Friendly. The realistic timeline looks like this. Month 1 might be $200 while you build reviews. Then peak travel season pushes it to $600, $800, and up, as your inventory grows. So here is what separates the top providers from everyone else. Spotless, safe, obviously sanitized gear. Parents are trusting you with their kids. Be the host who over-delivers on clean, and they will book you every single trip they take. And now, number 6, the one that pays you every month, forever, with no new sale. Interior plant rental. Here is the reveal. Offices, hotels, lobbies, and restaurants do not want to buy plants and then watch them slowly die, so they pay a company a standing monthly fee. You deliver the plants, place them, water them, and swap out any that fade. It is the exact same rent and asset model as the backyard pool. Except now a business pays you, on a contract, month after month after month. A typical corporate plant lease runs around $35 to $75 a month per location. Now watch this math, because this is the top rung of the whole ladder. Land 20 office accounts, and you are looking at roughly $1,000 a month in recurring revenue. Grow to 40 accounts, and operators report around $2,000 a month, with healthy margins after supplies and gas. Here is the pond. Your downtown alone has hundreds, maybe thousands of offices, medical suites, and lobbies. You need 20 to 40 of them. That is a tiny sliver of the room. So how do you actually start this one? You start bootstrapped, with your own car and 20 or 30 plants from a wholesale nursery. You pick the tough, hard-to-kill plants first, like pothos and snake plants, so nothing dies on you early. Then here is the whole customer game. You call, or you walk into, office managers and facilities managers directly. No platform taking a cut. So you keep the entire monthly fee minus your low supply cost. Your pitch is one line. You keep their lobby looking alive so they stop thinking about it entirely. First contracts often come within 30 days of real outreach. And each $50 account needs maybe an hour or 2 of care every couple of weeks. This is the closest thing to a paycheck on this whole list. Harry built this one on his off days and quiet middays. By month 12, his plant route reached 18 offices, paying him about $943 a month. On autopilot, whether he was behind the wheel that day or not. So what keeps these contracts alive for years? Put a free replacement promise in writing. A plant fades, you swap it, no charge, no drama. That one promise is the whole reason offices renew year after year. Document every visit with a quick photo, prove your value at renewal time, and the contract just keeps paying. So how do you choose between all 6? Run every idea through 3 filters. Filter 1, you already own it. Or you can buy it once for cheap, so there is no inventory to restock. Filter 2. Someone within a short drive already rents this exact thing, which means the demand is proven and local. Filter 3, and this is the money one. Pair one seasonal, high-ceiling asset, like the pool, with one year-round recurring asset, like the plants. That way, your income does not fully bottom out in the slow months. Seasonal gives you the spikes. Recurring gives you the floor. Together, they give you a paycheck, so add it all up for Harry. The pool paid him through the summer. The plant route paid him every month, all year long. By month 12, between the two of them, he was clearing around $2,300 a month, on top of the day job, from assets he mostly already owned. He did not invent a product. He did not open a store. He rented out water, a fenced yard, and a van full of plants. Now it is your turn, and I genuinely want your answer. Of these 6, which one would you list first? Your pool, your yard, textbooks, fixtures, baby gear, or office plants? Drop the number 1 through 6 in the comments below. Whichever one gets the most replies, I will do a full deep dive on it next. And one friendly note, check your city's rules on short-term rentals first. 15 minutes of Googling tells you exactly what fits your area. Then, this weekend, do one small thing. Pick one asset you already own, and just list it. That is the whole first step. You can do this.